Hi everybody, Laura here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a colorful geometric Hello project to share with you featuring the new Bold Geometrics stencil. This beautiful geometric stencil just came out in the new Beautiful Days stamp set, and I'm going to have a little fun blending it up. So I have a panel of white cardstock. I'm using Hammermill, and I'm just kind of temporarily adhering it down to my grid mat using some of that Easy C pink tape. And then now this stencil, you can do it a lot of different ways. You can do it straight across. You can cock it on an angle, which I'm going to do because, you know, I feel like it keeps it trendy. If you want to live on the edge, spice it up, cock your stencil slightly on an angle, and you'd be surprised. Kind of gives you a fresh new look. Okay, so you know I'm going in rainbow order, starting with blush. And I'm just using some scrap paper to kind of mask off each row. And so each row is going to get a different color. And then now what I'm going to do is change colors using that same just scrap paper. But I took a piece of this is this Hefty Doodle memo tape. It's kind of replaced my excessive use of Post-it tape for the time being. I was having trouble finding Post-it tape. And so I picked up some of this Hefty Doodle memo tape. I really do like it. It's nice and thick. And okay, we're working our way. I had Peachy, but it wasn't giving me enough oomph over on the right. So I pulled out Grapefruit and give it a little va-va-va-voom. So as you can tell, I am doing slight bit of gradient love with my blending. I want it to be a little bit darker over on the right and then fade it lighter as we go up towards the left. So here I am going in with, I believe this is Lemonade. And again, this is good, but I needed more pizzazz over on the right. So then I pulled out Sunbeam. Okay, if I forget to mention the color, I will have all the supplies and the ink colors listed in the description box below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're viewing on the Simon Says Stamp blog. Everything will be linked below, just in case I don't mention a color. But here we are, moving our way in Celery. And then I also picked up a little LIMELICIOUS to give that a little punch over on the right corner. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking great. I am reusing that Hefty Doodle memo tape as much as I can, and as well as that little scrap printer paper. And this is just thrifty and nifty masking. Okay, this time we got a little TIDEPOOL. I'm using Simon Says Stamp blender brushes. And then here's Marine. Now I feel like Marine might be a little lighter than this, but sometimes my blender brushes might have a little leftover darker color on it, so you never really know what you're going to get. But I kind of love the mystery of it all. Here we have Lilac. We're starting to round out our rainbow with a little lilac, and that one looks beautiful next to Marine. Final color, final and favorite, Peony. Peony will get you out of bed in the morning, and that's all I need to say. Okay, here we're going to reveal it. Best part of the whole thing. It's like Christmas morning. Va-va-va-voom. A bold geometric rainbow. Now, here's where we're going to spice it up. I know this might seem painful, but I sliced it. I sliced the panel like so because I just needed something. I needed something unpredictable. I needed something edgy. And, okay, so I pulled out a real oldie, but a real goodie. Because since this look I got going here is kind of clean and geometric, I pulled out, this is called the Kathy Zielske Clean Line Extra Large Stamp Set. She has a few of these clean line variations, and I love the clean font. Just doing a very simple hello. I contemplated using a word die, but then I wanted to just stamp something on top and not cover too much of that blended pattern in the background. Okay, we're going to zhuzh up the background just a smidge. This is the new Geo Flower Building stamp set. Also just came out in the new Beautiful Days release with Simon Says Stamp, but I only needed one little petal. So I did some stamp surgery. I snipped off one little petal on that little row of petal border thingamajiggies. Now, I know that's controversial. That might not be your cup of tea to to do a little stamp surgery, but I love to do it. I feel like I get more money, like my money's worth, if I can create more uses. And you can always easily piece that back together if you did want to stamp it as a row, like a border, how it was in the beginning. That's a nice thing about acrylic stamps. You can manipulate them. And so I snipped off one little petal, and it's slightly smaller, but the same shape as the ones that are in the stencil that we stenciled. And so it was like kind of meant to be. And I wanted to add a little zhuzh. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I'm stamping with the same colors that I blended. Here's LIMELICIOUS, stamping it on that row of green. And it adds a little something. I'm not going to do every single one. I'm just going to do a few randomly throughout the stenciled background. Here we have grapefruit, and that really popped on there. And I'm going to go around. Here we have TIDEPOOL, which is the color that I inked in the bottom row, right in the midst of the hello sentiment. So a few here and there, and it kind of just like wakes up the pattern a little bit, gives it a little more interest. Like you're like, ooh, some of those petals are darker. Ooh, what's going on here? And it makes you want to figure it out. Okay, so we got Sunbeam. Again, I'm not going to do every one. I'm just going to do a few. And since it's a little bit smaller, I kind of butt it up into the corner, and I just vary it throughout the background is what I try to like evenly space these random stamped petals. So that top one with blush, and then I'll do one more with TIDEPOOL, just trying to get a nice balance if I can. And then I'm going to pull that, since I snipped my background panel in half, I'm going to take that bottom half and just stamp a few of these petals on there too. You don't want to forget that. So this first one here is with Peony, and that looks so good stamped on that blended row. It really just kind of wakes it up, for lack of a better description. And then we have a little lilac one here, and then that bottom row, which is, what was that, marine? I believe it was marine that I used. Okay, so this is fun. Fun way to get more mileage out of your stamp sets. Whenever you can snip them to the high heavens. That's what I say, Find out more ways to use it. Now that bottom half, I popped up with foam tape. And I'm still trying to find a little way to add a little more oomph. So I'm trimming a very thin strip of matte gold cardstock. And I'm going to slip that in between the two panels that are on an angle. And that's going to give it a little bit of gold shimmer. It's also going to give it a little bit of separation, because without it, you might not even see that I cut it in half. Even though the bottom, it's hard for you to see from the angle, but the bottom half is popped up, and the top half, where the hello is taped down flat. Okay? And then so I'm adhering that little strip of matte gold cardstock, gives it a little shimmer, a little shine. Now I forgot to tape this because I'm losing my marbles, but I went ahead and embossed a coordinating sentiment from that Kathy Zilski Clean Lines. I embossed my friend in white on a little strip of black cardstock, trimmed it out, popped it up below. I added a few clear drops, little bubbles here and there for embellishment, and this card is finished. Just want to say hello, my friend, but I want to keep it trendy, hip, modern, fresh, colorful, geometric, and all those good things. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.